This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Buddy Kunanan, and this is Global Village. And on this show, we take you around the world. We visit interesting places, meet amazing people. We also talk about topics and issues that impact the global community, and especially those that highlight the Philippines' connectivity with the rest of the world. Now, tonight is a special program because we are actually going to talk about very close partnership between the United Kingdom and the Philippines in the realm of education, and exploring wonderful opportunities for Filipinos to get further and advance education with partner universities in the United Kingdom. And tonight, our very special guests on the show, we have Marquis, Carol Marquis, and he is the Executive Director of the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED. And joining him is Nicholas Thomas, and he is the Country Director of the British Council. So, guys, welcome to Global Village.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and pleasure to have you here because, I'm a big advocate of education and promoting cooperation in this field, and I'm so happy that you guys are here to talk about these wonderful opportunities that are opening up for Filipinos in this area. And to start the show, let's talk about you guys first. Let's talk about Mark.
Sure.
Yeah, you're the Executive Director of CHED. Quickly, what is the mission and vision behind CHED?
It's really, it was started in 1994. Before it was one agency, the Department of Education, Culture and Sports. Since then it was trifocalized into three agencies. Now it's DepEd, CHED, and TESDA. So what CHED handles is really overseeing the higher education sector. That means colleges, universities, institutes. So everyone enrolling for further studies after they graduate high school or now grade 12 is under the area of CHED.
Yes, and you are the Executive Director.
Yes.
Which programs do you oversee specifically?
So right now, actually, as Executive Director,
Yeah.
you oversee all the central offices and regional offices of CHED, making sure that the operations are happening efficiently. In my previous capacity, I was head of the K-12 transition program, which was really where this program started from the CHED side,
Yes.
the partnership with the UK. And so there, and even now, the role is really to make sure that we have enough programs available. We have quality programs that are accessible to Filipinos who are intending to pursue further studies. And I think that's an exciting part of the work that we do.
Very nice, very nice. How about you, Nick? Tell us a bit about your involvement with British Council.
Well, I'm the country director of the British Council here in the Philippines, and the British Council is the UK's cultural relations organisation. Essentially what we do is to use the UK's cultural educational resources to build links with countries around the world, links that are, we hope, deep, long-lasting, mutually beneficial. We operate in just over 100 countries globally, and we've been in the Philippines for just coming up to 40 years.
Yes. But before this, you're working in Asia as well in another capacity.
Yes, I've been in Asia, in fact, since 2000, and I spent 13 years in China before I came to the Philippines 4 years ago. And in China, I worked in really building UK-China trade and investment links, mainly based in Beijing.
And what led you to the British Council?
The British Council has always been an organisation that I've had a lot of respect for, and I think, coming from the commercial sector, what I saw in my interactions with businessmen, with government officials in China was that those who'd had a cultural interaction or who'd studied in the UK in some way or another, the conversations that we had with them were very different because they understood the UK, they had goodwill towards the UK, and of course, that's very much at the core of what the British Council does.
Yes, it's really the people-to-people interaction and bringing peoples closer together.
Precisely.
Raising awareness of each other's cultures, and you, in your capacity in China, saw that really in the way that people would do business, in the business interactions, no?
Absolutely. I mean, if people understand the UK and are well disposed towards it, then that has benefits in other walks of life.
Very
so I think
good.
the work we do is incredibly important.
Very good, very good. Now, gentlemen, let's talk about this cooperation between the UK and the Philippines and the exciting, specifically the transnational education programs that you guys are helping to set up. No? How did this cooperation come about? I mean, you touched on it earlier.
Yes.
Mark, when you
Yes.
when you said that that the British Council already has some initiatives in this field.
Yes. I think the context was really in 2016.
Yeah.
We were starting the K-12 transition program. Students were enrolling in grades 11 and 12 instead of going to college. And for the CHED side, that was a problem because we didn't have students coming into our schools, and most schools would have a hard time supporting their operations and their faculty. At that time, we were assessing where were we as a higher education sector, and we found out that 50% of our faculty, our professors teaching in our universities, only 50% of them had graduate studies.
Oh,
50% of them had only bachelor's degrees teaching college students, and that is actually a very low standard and low percentage compared to our ASEAN peers. Everyone in Asia is 50%, 70% and above, and we're only at 50%.
Wow,
and so
okay.
government thought now is the best time, because they don't have students to teach, now is the best time to invest in them and send them for further studies for master's and doctorate. And we were able to secure the funding successfully for this scholarship. But when we mapped out all the graduate programs, we realized that we didn't have enough graduate programs to send them to. 50% or 60% actually of all programs in the country at master's and PhD level is in 3 areas.
Okay.
Either teacher education, business administration, or public administration. So if you want to study anything else beyond these 3, it might be challenging for you to find that program because it did not exist.
Interesting. How come it's focused on those 3 basically? Is it because of demand or just it's
Well,
been that for the longest time?
I
maybe?
think 2 things. One is demand. We realized in our study that most of the Filipinos pursuing graduate studies are those wanting promotions. And promotions require that you take these programs to be
Yes,
promoted.
yes.
So it's teachers,
Especially in the government.
government
Right?
officials.
Especially in the government,
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is sort of what drove and shaped the availability of programs that we had. And it was time to intervene. So I think that's one of the things. The second is that these programs are cheaper to offer because they don't require a lot of laboratories, equipment, all of these things. And so most private universities would have greater capacity to offer these programs and not the others. And I think the role of CHED is to make sure that there's enough diversity of programs, not just in Manila but also across regions, in a way that it responds to the needs of the local communities.
Yes. Now, from the side of the British Council, how did your organization get together with CHED, realizing that there are limitations in the number of programs being offered by Philippine universities, the master and
Yes.
post
Yes.
PhD levels? How did you guys come together?
Well, a lot of the work that we do around the world focuses on internationalizing, supporting the internationalization of higher education systems in other countries. And this is an area which the UK has a lot of strength in. We did a piece of research in 2015 that looked at the internationalization context specifically in the Philippines. And the outcome of that research, I guess, excited us quite a lot, because what it said, basically, I think stating the obvious really, that this is an economy that's growing very fast. It's obviously English speaking. English is the medium of instruction in higher education. It's also got the fastest growing university age population in the ASEAN region. So
Really?
a very, very young
Interesting, huh?
demographic.
Until 2050, it's
Yes.
bound to increase.
So this seemed like an environment that was absolutely ripe for internationalization. And we also felt, I mean, going back to our core remit, that essentially the UK and the Philippines have a friendly relationship, but we don't know each other as well as we could. And I think the conversations with CHED, we saw a great opportunity working with them. Why not do something to bring our universities together to solve a problem in the Philippines, and also to create an opportunity for these UK institutions who are very interested in building links with countries like the Philippines.
And the result is this transnational education program.
Yes.
How does this work, Mark?
So at least for this, we co-developed joint programs between Philippine universities and UK universities in programs that don't exist yet in the Philippines. For example, sustainable food systems, food security, we have creative design, we also have big data science coming in, digital innovation. So all of these exciting new programs that even if you weren't wanting to just get promoted, you'd like to enroll in.
For sure,
So
for
that
sure,
we
yeah.
co-develop these programs in an equal partnership where we bring in the expertise of both sides to the equation to create really unique experiences for our students. And that we've been very thankful for the support of the British Council. It's been a good partnership for us for the past 2 years, and I think we can say we've been successful in developing these programs together.
How did the British Council raise awareness with the stakeholders in the UK, the educational stakeholders, in this program with CHED?
Well, this has actually been a very interesting aspect of the project. I think we've gone from a situation, say, 2 to 3 years ago, where people, they knew about the Philippines, but they didn't know very much in the higher education sector, to the point where we've now got really a lot of interest. And the way we've done that is, I think, through lots of trips back to the UK that we've supported, lots of matchmaking activities. We have big global events. For example, we have an annual conference called Going Global that this year we ran in London in May, that brings together higher education policymakers, institutions from around the world. Again, we had a very large delegation from the Philippines going to that this year. So I think it's really it's a lot of interaction. Obviously, UK universities also coming out to the Philippines and getting to know the Philippines.
Yes. Now, Mark, how does this work? Let's say when you have some sort of joint let's say partnership between UK university and a Philippine university, the graduate of this course, of this program, will have a degree
From both.
from both,
Yes.
like a joint degree.
Yes, like a joint degree. It has different iterations, but some would choose to either have 2 diplomas, some would have just 1, but crediting the programs from the other. So it has different iterations depending on the maturity of the partnership and depending on what is available as options for the respective institutions on the Philippine side or the UK side. So we're open to exploring the different ways. It's also the first time for CHED to sort of test drive our policy on transnational education. So for us, it's also an eye-opener to realize the terrain that we're working on and how all of these programs could look different from one another but achieve the same aim. So we're still in the process of learning about this.
Now, the programs that you're setting up, how do
Yes.
you identify which programs to offer, which programs to develop?
So what we did actually when we started the K-12 program was to make a list of all programs that were still lacking in the Philippines, that was based on our consultations at the regional level, was something that was critical in supporting regional development. So we surfaced these programs, put it in a list, asked local partners who among the best institutions in the Philippines would want to work with us on this partnership, take a pick from these disciplines and find a partner in the UK. And so it's been a process. It's been several months just to get to that point, but I think because there is much ownership, because
Yeah.
they choose the discipline that they want to do, and it plays to the strengths of the schools, and then they find the partner abroad, it's genuine and it really makes use and maximizes the strength of the Philippine universities.
Yes, and it's a nice product because let's say if you're a provincial university and you have tie up with a university in the UK, it's
Yes.
very prestigious, huh?
Yes.
It's a diploma that it adds value
Yes.
to the diploma.
Definitely. And even for us, I mean, the UK side coming to the Philippines, it adds a different layer of experience. If you want
For
to
sure.
study disaster risk reduction, we're the natural laboratory for that, unfortunately. And the study, for example, in St. Louis University is for upland systems. So mountainous areas and how disasters might be different in those areas. We also have a program in tropical oceanography. And of course, we're an archipelago. We have so much of that. We also have expertise in agriculture for the longest time, and now there's a way of packaging that as part of a food system instead of just agriculture per se. So all of these different opportunities that adds layers of, I guess, enriching experiences for UK students and Filipino students at the same time. I think it's a win-win.
You mentioned St. Louis University in Baguio,
Yes.
one of the
Yes.
best universities in that
Yes,
city.
yes.
And who is the partner?
The
Which school is the partner of St. Louis?
It's Coventry University.
Okay, and you mentioned upland irrigation.
It's actually Master of Science in Disaster Risk Reduction and Management, but focusing on the context of mountainous areas. As you know, Baguio was hit before by a massive earthquake, and then sort of building preparedness for those type of disasters.
And you're partnering them with Coventry.
Yes.
And what expertise does the UK partner bring to the table in that partnership?
That's an area of expertise that I'm not very familiar with. But I think overall, I mean, I would stress what Mark said about the fact that these degree programs are they're a genuine co-creation between the UK and the Philippines. They bring together some of the very best. But what the interest that we have from UK universities in the program is that it allows them to combine sort of areas of expertise, whether it's about sort of cold water, marine biology, with a very different context, a very different environment, very different approaches to research.
What about teachers? Will this entail, teachers from the UK, instructors coming to the Philippines and vice versa?
Yes, both sides.
Okay.
We've sent Filipino faculty to go to the UK to already meet and sort of get to know the practices of their partner universities. We've also welcomed a lot of UK faculty already in the past year coming to the Philippines to visit their partner institutions. And we see more of that and a deepening of these relations even more in the coming years.
How far are we? I mean, have you piloted any of these programs already? Are any of these programs up and running?
One is the PhD in Engineering, University of San Carlos in partnership with Coventry University as well.
Again, oh wow.
Yes.
Very
and
exciting,
they
yeah.
started already, I think, this year. Most of the programs, however, will be open by 2018, and we're very excited about this.
Who are the participants or who are the universities in the Philippines who have signed up already for this transnational education program?
Yeah, so we have 10. We have Ateneo de Manila, we have Bicol University, Central Luzon State University, De La Salle University, of course, Miriam College, St. Louis, Silliman University in Dumaguete, we have University of San Carlos, we have UP Diliman, and UP Los Baños.
Wow, so the one up and running is already one with San Carlos.
Yes.
Who is going to come on stream, let's say, the next
Everyone
ones?
else will be available by 2018.
Very good, very good. Exciting times, huh, Nick?
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, 17 programs in total.
And I'm not aware if there's any other country that, is there any other country with this kind of collaboration in the field of transnational education with the Philippines?
I think not really. This is the first one. However,
Wow.
we've gotten a lot of interest also to have similar partnerships from other countries intending to do the same and partner with us in this area.
Of course. So this is really the first initiative of its
Yes.
kind in the Philippines. Huh?
Yes, it is.
Now, on the British Council side, is this TNE initiative? Is this being rolled out in all the areas that British Council is currently has a presence in?
This program is unique and standalone. We do lots of work in TNE around the world and more broadly in internationalizing higher education around the world. So I guess sort of the objectives of the program are similar to work that we do elsewhere.
Yes. Now, finally, there's a part of this program is I understand it's something called the Newton Fund. What is the Newton Fund all about, Mark?
So the Newton Fund is actually a grant for research and institutional collaboration between, similarly, countries in the Philippines and the UK. And a lot of these partnerships that we have now, actually, the beginning or the buds of these relationships started through those initial partnerships in research, which shows you how it can really grow. Partnerships can start very small, just a collaboration on paper or something, or just for research, and really blossom into full collaborations at the institutional level, and this is what we're seeing.
And the Newton Fund is a United Kingdom
It's a
government
jointly
fund.
funded UK grant as well that is co-funded by the Philippine government, either from CHED or from DOST. And we've been doing that for a few years now, before TNE came in. And so we were able to reap the gains of that initial partnership and then mature them towards becoming TNE
And now
programs.
it's the full-blown education cooperation. Bravo,
yes.
bravo. Now, Nick, on the part of the British Council, you obviously played a very crucial role, your organization, in putting this thing together and growing it. And then now we're going to see a rollout by 2018, which is just a few months from now.
Yes.
And what else will the British Council do after? Let's say you have all these partnerships in place already. Will you guys still have a hand in the supervision of the program, in the monitoring of the programs?
Well, we're still working those details out, and working very closely with CHED on sort of what we might want to do in the future. We hope that the programs will be able to run themselves, that they will be self-sustaining.
Sure.
But I think what we're seeing as a result of the work on this program and on Newton is much more interest both in the Philippines and in the UK in working together. So I think what I can say confidently is we're going to be busy. That this is an area that's going to keep growing.
Well, it sounds like it. I mean, like you're expecting how many to come on stream next year, and as you said, it's an exciting thing. And if I were another school, not involved in this program, I would be very,
very interested
Absolutely,
to start something. But I think
absolutely.
we're glad that we started this way. very well so that we have a benchmark for quality. So that when we have future schools coming to
Sure,
us
for
and
sure.
telling Ched, we want to do something similar, we can say, yes, of course, let's do it together, but with this standard.
Okay, quickly before we close, what about costs? Let's say you put this partnership together, and obviously it entails costs and training and all of that.
Yes.
Will it be expensive?
I think it is more expensive than the usual local rates, but it's still much cheaper than going abroad to study the full degree elsewhere.
Definitely.
Without the opportunity cost of leaving your job, your family, and all of these different things that most Filipinos would also consider in studying. And I think that's one of the things that Ched was very intent on. We wanted to increase access to quality graduate programs locally without having to go abroad. You see, a lot of our Filipino students have been pirated by other countries for them to study abroad and then afterwards get jobs there and then not come home.
Yes.
This sort of
yes.
allows us to have globally competitive but locally rooted programs that are available in the Philippines without leaving the comfort of the country.
Very good. Now, Mark, you're coming back for the third segment, but before we go, would you like to say something on behalf of the British Council, Nick?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about
Pleasure.
the program, and really just to say that we very much look forward to growing our program in the Philippines. It's a very, very exciting context for us to be working in, and we're very, very excited about this program. So please watch this space.
Very good. Thank you very much, Nick, for coming to the show. And I'll see you again for
See you.
third segment with Dr. Jay Sabido, Sabido, one of your partners from StratPoint Technologies Incorporated. So guys, stick around because more of Global Village and UK Philippines Educational Cooperation when we return.